the only way that they got an Xbox made is somebody at the meeting, at the Valentine's Day Massacre meeting, if you remember the video, said, what about Sony? And Bill's like, let's do it then. Because he didn't want Sony to take over the living room. That's the reason why the Xbox came about. They gave they gave Xbox team $1 billion to go make this. And then they went to go buy stuff with it. But this is what they wanted. The problem is that everybody associated themselves with Xbox, not Microsoft. Xbox was cool. Microsoft wasn't. That's right, CTR. I just played my video from 5 years ago. And I have a whole channel. Go back. Just go to Video Live and go oldest and go listen to them. I said all this. I said it's going to damage the quality of games. I said that all this going on day one is going to diminutize the console itself. Nobody's going to want to buy an Xbox. What's the purpose when you're putting your games everywhere day one? And know what else? I think this is actually good news to Sony and Nintendo to show what happens if you want to go spread your IP early to everybody and how losing your identity for the console will basically just cannibalize your whole gaming division. Sony will look at this and go, oh shit, yo. Look what happened to Microsoft. They put their games everywhere day one, and look what happened. Nobody wanted to buy the console, and now it's pretty much done. Sony would be like, yo, yeah, let's keep those specials right to PlayStation. We'll wait a couple more years before it goes to PC. Nintendo goes, huh? They're shaking their head going, uh-huh. Yep, exactly. That's why you take care of your console first. Microsoft wanted to go grab 2 billion people, but they forgot about the most important ones. They forgot about the most important people.
About console is it's your highest value gamer. It's your person who plays the most, they buy the most. But the thing that's also important is that customer is actually your most valuable customer across every device.
No, they're not, Phil. No, they're not. That console customer is the most important on the console. They're not. You don't look at a console customer and call them a phone customer. They're not a PC customer. They're not. And right there, it shows the faults of Microsoft and their vision. They thought that a gamer's a gamer. Like, they just showed up as naive. They think that we're just like kind of lemmings. Like, oh yeah, a gamer's a gamer. No. A console gamer is a console gamer. You should not consider them a phone gamer. They're not. And because you thought they were the same person, you ignored them to their needs, to what they wanted for their console.
Number one customer.
That's the problem. That's the problem. You thought they were the same people. And you did not take care of the 25 or 30 million that you had and expand from there. Instead, you abandoned them, didn't give them exclusives, and went around showing your games off and giving them to PC and mobile where they really don't care or appreciate what Gears is to them. They don't care Halo to them. They don't care because those games were identified with your Xbox console. And some people will be like, oh, console wars, this. Yo, there are products that are competing everywhere. Headphones, cameras, Nikon and Canon. All of them. Everybody, there's competition. That's inherent in the market. So if you're making a console, there's a competition in a console. And as long as that console's on shelves, that's competition. And it is what it is. And everybody has their unique things that make their product sell. If you don't believe that, then you're an idiot. Because that's exactly what it is. Bose with their noise canceling, Sony with their noise canceling, Sennheiser with their bass. There's technology in each of those things that makes them unique. You can't just go buy any noise canceling headphones and go, yeah, this is just like Bose. No, it's not. Bose has their technology. That's what makes their headphones. They could charge $400 for their headphones because that's their tech. That's what they do. Oh, they should just give their ANC to every headphone. Then who would spend $400 to buy a Bose? Dopey bastard. Therefore, you suck. That's why it's idiotic when people go, just put everything everywhere. No, dude. Because that stuff is identified with that brand. You put Mario Walker running around in Microsoft, guess what that does to Nintendo? They lose their identity. And then what happens is the consumer goes, well, I don't need to buy their shit. I could get it here. Oops. Now, Nintendo starts seeing loss of money. We just witnessed it. Microsoft is the perfect case right now to show you what happens when you lose your identity. Xbox has lost its identity and nobody sold the console. They had nothing to fall back on. So now they need to put their games everywhere because they spent so much money so quickly. And now they got all this product and they got to put it somewhere. And because they abandoned their core audience and the Xbox console is 2 to 3 million lower than the previous years, the previous generation that Phil said they lost. Well, because of that, they don't have anything to fall back on. They could have these great games to sell on their platform, but nobody's buying because on top of the limited install base, they convinced them not to buy games and subscribe to a service, and nobody asked, hey, what happens if we don't put games in the service? What happens if we don't put games for 2020 and 2022? What happens to our service then? It don't grow. And then what happens? People cancel. And then people cancel. And then it doesn't grow. So now you have a subscription that's not growing, and you put your subscription on devices that nobody cares about. No little Timmy on a phone is excited for Gears on his phone. And they showed you that. Because Gears is identified with your brand, with your console. Go make a Gears 7 and go make Gears 6 and go watch how that makes your console sell. Because that's what people associate it with. The consumer associated it with the console. Now, use this as a case scenario to show you what happens when you lose your identity. And that's it. And this is what it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be okay, but I don't think this is not going to save the Xbox business by putting this on the Switch and Nintendo, because these items are identified. Look at Sonic. Look how Sonic, use Sega as a test case. Look how Sega can't really find their way with Sonic. They either go nostalgia, they try to go new, but Sonic never hit the way it did on the Genesis. Right? Once Sonic came off the Genesis, the Sega Master System, and went everywhere, it never got what it was. And I don't know if you could agree, I was more of a Nintendo fan. But what Sonic was to the Genesis, once he went everywhere, they could never get Sonic back to what he meant to that brand. It's a retro game, it's new, they can't get a Sonic team struggles because he has no home. That's right. Sonic is homeless now. He has no, he's just there. They don't know what to do with him. And I expect the same thing to go with the Microsoft IP because it was associated with Xbox. And now it's going to be everywhere. Let me get to these super chats before I forget them. I want to thank everybody for throwing. This is a crazy thing. And again, this may all be rumor, but dude, it's all over the freaking place. I had to talk about it. I had to do this emergency show. What did I miss? Robert Lawrence, thank you so much. 2 gifted members, Robert Lawrence. And then Michael Moradine with the 5 VIP grinders. Welcome to the VIP Grindhouse. I was gonna do the emoji and everything for tomorrow, and everybody. This is insane. I came back and I saw this stuff. So we will get the emojis. We're at it at over 125 members. I want to thank you. We're going to do emojis. You guys deserve it for all the support and everything, man. I'm gonna do a give. We're gonna do something because I appreciate everybody sticking around through all this stuff and listening to our show. I hope I entertained you. And we had fun with it because, if they're going to mock us, I'm going to mock those executives. And that's what I do. You think you could treat us in a way, then you get that right back because executives are not my friend. I don't care. And that's why I started my thing, because I'm not going to toe the line. I say how I feel, and this is how I feel as a consumer. And this hurts because even though I did not like it 5 years ago and continued this show for all these years, I did not want to see it go this way. I wanted Game Pass to fail so that they realized bringing back games to their platform. I didn't want Game Pass to take off because I didn't want that model to dictate what the games would be. That was my problem. I didn't want to see Xbox, the whole brand, just dissolve and do this. This is insane. Like I was telling my son, I was like, there's rumors that all the Microsoft games could be coming to PlayStation. He's like, holy crap, like this is crazy. I'm like, I know. But I'm not done. I'm not done. Because this is going to be a long road. So hit that subscribe button. You come along for the ride, everybody. We're going on this road together. This is our journey. Cosmic Hero 270 with the 10. He goes, all this crying and defending Xbox. Now Phil's nowhere to be found. His bosses have taken over. So to the Xbox, all these years of corporate defending worth it? No, because they were waiting for that W. They were waiting. Thank you, Josh. Josh has been here for the longest time. Listen. They thought they were going to get that euphoria moment of this redemption, this E3 moment. They thought this was going to happen. And I don't know how, but I believe because they're just so embraced into this brand that they felt like there was going to be some sort of miracle, Hail Mary throw that was going to get them back. But I saw the writing on the wall. As long as this regime was there, Satya and Phil, there was no way Xbox was going to be successful because their vision for what Xbox was wrong. It was counter to everything they spent the 20 years to build this brand up. That's the thing. Anthony Perez with the 10. Thank you. Bots all over Twitter are seeing that they've been getting Phil Ness the whole time. That's right. This is the OG of Phil Ness. I told you he was lying 5 years ago. Remember how he saved Xbox. Remember Terry Myerson was the problem. Oh, Terry Myerson. Now that Terry Myerson's gone, Phil's going to fix it again. No. Wonder how the narrative changes around that con artist. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony Perez. Yeah, right? Phil saved Xbox. Activision Blizzard accelerated this. That's right, right? Daddy wants his money back. That's right, games and anime. That's right. But they're seeing that Phil was lying. And what they don't like is how transparent Phil has been, and he's in hiding. What's so wrong is that he played all these people when the rumor came out from Tim Stewart in the beginning of January, and he went on to Bootleg Jez's Windows Central and said, well, Game Pass is not coming to those consoles, and everybody rejoiced. He should have said it there. Yes, I support Tim Stewart. We're going to be exploring putting our games on Nintendo and PlayStation. That's what Phil should have done. And just rip the Band-Aid off then. But instead, he went out there trying to pull a switcheroony and be like, well, Game Pass is not going over there. Oh, dude. You just rode them for a ride. And then on top of that, last year, when you could have just said Bethesda games are coming everywhere, when everybody didn't know where Starfield was, you went out there on stage, you and Sarah Bond, and basically, oh my God, you guys were like, oh, exclusive, and Elder Scrolls will be exclusive. And it's like, oh man, you're using exclusives again? And he rode you guys all over the place. Rode you up and down, pulled on your heartstrings, all this stuff. Sorry, Zero, hit that notification button. Is it emergency? Emergency. Illness. Then running around, going, and this is what I can't believe when people believe this stuff, where he goes, like, how do you go around we suck again, telling everybody that you suck and you're the worst and you're low and you're all this stuff? And people say, no, you're just saying that for the CMA. You're just saying that for the CMA. I'm like, no, dude, they suck. Look at the NPDs. Look at what they're doing. They suck. They're losing multi-plat games because their install base is so low. They suck. They're telling the truth. No. Phil's not telling the truth. He's just saying that to get the deal done. It's like, holy I can't help you.
Philness.
The Philness runs deep into the veins with those folks. I can't help you. I can't help you with that one.
You idiots! You've captured the stunt doubles!
Yeah, I can't help you. Well, snake oil salesman. Dude, he's been a snake oil salesman. You all know. You guys were in the know because you came here and listened to us, Frogs and myself, and all our guests, and what everybody else is saying. Thrash has been showing what's sick, and I was going back listening to my videos. I want to say something. Sick Humor, man, if you're in the chat, oh, you listen to this later, man, you were there from day one. My second episode, Sick Humor, No Cap Podcast, was in my chat talking to me, and I just want to thank him, man, because back then, I was getting, you could even see the chats, the few people that were in there going, you're overreacting, calm down, all this other stuff, fear mongering, and I got it all when I started my thing. I only had 4 people in there, and they all just roasted, kind of being like, oh, roast. I would not even look at the chat because they would just kind of just be like, stop it, man, like, stop it. And no, I didn't stop it. And, there were people there that just said, no, man, speak the truth, speak how you feel. And, Sick was one of them, man. He was up there. I know a lot of other you that have been here too, like we're doing that. But I just was crazy seeing him in the chat and thinking that we talk now and all that other stuff. But man, he was there from episode 2, man, episode 1. It was crazy. But I know a lot of you are too. I'll go back because I was just listening to some of those things going, I said all this, man. And I don't want to be justified. Like, I don't want to be like, ha ha ha, I told everybody. But it's just like, I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like where it was going. And that's where I started grinds my gears. Like, that's what I said. This grinds my gears. And I just said, I feel real strongly about it. I bought a microphone and I started this. So, to anybody out there that's doing channels and stuff, and I'm not no big channel or anything like that, but I have a awesome audience that listens, and it just grew because you just have to be genuine with yourself. You just got to say how you feel. Don't put on an act. You could be funny. You could do stuff, but dude, just say how you feel, just be honest. Don't have to say, well, I got to pretend I like Xbox and let me go on here and say, then don't start a channel like that. If you don't really care about it, then don't do it. That's right. Twisted Sigsby in 2018. I know. A lot of you have been here forever. The OG grinders, man. I know, because I started gaming Grindhouse, that was like 3 years ago. Before that, I was just doing things. Dude, I was just playing episode. Nick, I just started episode 2. Like, I was just playing episode 2 right before, like, when I just started. Episode 1 tells you how I couldn't believe Phil Spencer made a $500 mistake. But anyway, we don't want to go over there. I have maybe we'll go do that and do that. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate all the support, guys. Like, it's just, it's tough. Like, it's like especially when they were buying studios 2018. Everybody thought that this was it. They were going to do it. And I just said, that Game Pass cloud, dude. That Game Pass cloud was still there. And I'm like, they're telling people, like, what are these games going to look like? They're like, stop it. Stop. I told you. Halo came the way it came out. Crackdown 3 was a disaster. Forza now. And the thing is, too, is this is the other thing. Now we're going to talk about this. Thank you, Saru. There's nothing to defend. That's it. But like this now, like the plans of Starfield launch. So apparently they started with Hi-Fi Rush, then Sea of Thieves. Then the rumor came out. So like around here is that, remember they told them to stop making Starfield. And they said, stop it, just make it on this. Well, it looks as though they're planning now to bring Starfield to the PlayStation. According to sources, this is the big thing. Microsoft are planning to launch for Starfield on the PS5 post-release of the already announced Shattered Space expansion for Xbox and PC, which is on point to arrive some point later this year. We've been informed that Microsoft has made an additional investment into PS5 dev kits to support ongoing development efforts, adding further fuel to the fire. Now, according to what Zuby said, Zuby was saying that what he heard was that so much. He's like, yo, this ruled out, and then he was telling earlier and all that stuff. But shout out to Zuby, man, and wherever he gets his information from, dude. But it is insane. And then it says, The idea of bringing first-party titles to competing console platforms marks as a massive change in strategy for Microsoft, and from what I understand, it's not been without fierce internal debate of this new direction. Releasing Starfield on the PS5 contradicts the original statement around exclusivity that President Sarah Bond said during the Xbox Bethesda games. Now, if you remember, and shout out to Frogs again, if you remember, a lot of people were critiquing Aaron Greenberg's thing where he says launching Starfield, launching on Xbox and PC. And everybody's like, launching? Who uses that kind of language when they're talking about a game? What do you mean launching? Like, just like, no, Starfield coming to PC and Xbox. But when they use the word launch, like it's launching on there, and people were reading into it. I never read too much into it, but people were pointing that out. Yeah, right, Reaper? Like, we need to think PlayStation and Nintendo are part of the same community of users. Like, all this subtle stuff. Dude, I was posting, man, you want to see some things. Like, I was posting, where was this stuff? Look at all this. Where is this? Remember all this stuff? Like these things? Where is it? Oh, my goodness. Remember this? All this stuff? Survive together. Let's play all together. Like, dude, remember all these, like, all this stuff, a cross-play and all this other stuff? And I even thought, which was crazy. Oh, what happened to my... Sorry, I hit it. Sorry. I know. Sometimes it has that feedback. Sorry, dude. But yeah, like, they did this. And I was like, hey, doesn't that affect Xbox Live? Like, the whole point of Xbox Live was that it's this closed system and all this other stuff. And you know, and they're like, no. Everybody, the old one's PC. To survive together. Remember they said. It's crazy. And exactly, Atari fan right there. He says, they are already on millions of devices. And I've been saying this. The last place to put this was the console. And this basically completely devalues the console, because now this is not the same as Sony putting their games on PC. This is not the same, because now you're putting your games on the direct competitor to your Xbox. You know, the PC market's different. The mobile market's different. This is putting your stuff directly on the thing that people are going to decide. And people decide their console based off the games that they could play on that console. And if one console is going to have the games of another console, then you're going to buy the one that has it all. Hence, even a PC that could play all of it. So this completely either chases people to PC who just hate PlayStation, don't want to deal with PlayStation. They're going to go to PC, and the rest of them will either go PS5, whatever, and that's it. And the Xbox would be nothing. That's it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, it's done. And I really think that Phil's probably going to leave, because there's nothing to fight for anymore. And he said the ABK deal was like his biggest achievement, which, that's sad, but that's what he said. And that's going to be his legacy. And know what's so funny is, like, when we went through this whole ABK deal. Thank you, Atari fan. Credit. Well, like, yeah, I called this out years ago. Yeah, I never liked it. I knew where this was going. I was like, because it never made sense to me. Because you can't be in two places at once. You can't be everywhere and still think that your brand is strong. Especially how they convoluted the exclusivity words and launch and the Xbox, what Xbox means, and all this other trash, like all this stuff. They convoluted everything. And to go back to the thing. So then here it is. So now here's the article from Bootleg Jez. Here you go. Xbox is reportedly going to release Starfield on PS5. Is this the death of Xbox exclusives as nigh? Now remember, he was like, this will never happen. Twitter's going insane. I had to get off of Twitter, because the thing that broke is that apparently Microsoft purchased a whole, for those that are coming in now, Microsoft purchased a whole bunch of PlayStation 5 dev kits to shift focus into turning games that were once exclusive into multi-platform games moving forward, and games that they have released to start porting them over to PlayStation 5 and possibly a Switch. But apparently they bought a whole bunch of PlayStation 5 dev kits, and it started with Xbox Era. You know, Azubi was put some things out there as well. Master Chief Collection, the Pentiment, all the whole slate. You know, the thing they made fun of PlayStation because they put a couple games on the PC. It was like the whole slate going to PlayStation. Insane.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Welcome to the Grindhouse, Sam CRO. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. What was his first name? But yeah, so apparently rumors are swirling that Xbox is gearing up to end its console exclusive games run. And they never had a console exclusives. They never had console exclusives. Rich, I think Dealer knew this stuff was going on. And you could even tell, like, and again, I don't want to go with Xbox channels, but you could see the hype of the launch of the Series X. People thought that the Xbox was going to come back because the incumbent always is conceded and they make mistakes, and Xbox had a chance to come back. The problem is Microsoft had no games and Sony was stacked with games. And the problem is that Microsoft never got out of it. It's all going. That's what they're saying. It's all going. And this is the thing. So they started with Hi-Fi Rush, started with Sea of Thieves, both rumored to go multi-platform. But the thing that leaked out today, the thing that is that they purchased a whole bunch of PS5 dev kits to do this. They heard rumors that Microsoft's multi-platform ambitions back in early December, which then it was confirmed by Tim Stewart to Wells Fargo, which people said, Tim listens to Phil. The CFO is Phil's under, like, you know, he listens to Phil. No, dude, he's the money man. And I showed you the emails here. You've been on this journey with me. You saw the emails. There was an internal struggle. Phil wanted to make Bethesda games exclusive, and Tim Stewart did not. And I'm telling you right now, I think Redfall, when Phil took it on the chin, that was the turning point. And then Starfield was the other kick in the other knee. I think that Redfall was the gut punch, and Starfield was the knockout punch. I think those two games underperformed. Redfall definitely underperformed. And I think they said, okay, Phil, with this exclusivity stuff, it's a wrap. Like, we need, and PlayStation announcing, what do you think? Don't you think that it grinds their gears when they see PlayStation announce like 40 million, 45 million sold? Like, Sony don't hide numbers. 30 million sold, 40 million, 45, and they just seen this growth of PlayStation. They're like, and they're sitting there staring at their console. They basically put it on clearance. Now we know that holiday sale was a fire sale. They're done. That was a fire sale. That was to get rid of all that inventory for the holiday. And they're sitting there looking at their measly 27 million, and they can't even outsell the previous generation, which was a supposedly failed generation. And now they must have said, Phil, that exclusivity is done. I don't care about building exclusives. We just spent $80 billion and the console is not selling and the service is not growing. We got to go elsewhere. And that's all they've been doing, Grinders. I said this from day one. All they've been doing is hitting dead ends, and they've been putting tape over leaks, and a leak comes up over there. They thought, hey, by putting the game on PC in the Windows Store, we will get those PC guys. Well, nobody went there. They put tape over that leak. UWP, they canceled, and they put it on Steam. And then they put it on Steam, and they saw, okay, well, it's selling on Steam. That's great, but like, let's do cloud. Cloud is where Satya wants to do, because we got to pay Steam 30%. We want it on our service. So let's do it to the cloud. Well, Sarabon said on the oath, the cloud did not grow. The cloud was just people trying out demos before they downloaded it. It didn't bring in a new mobile audience because they're not mobile games. They're not mobile games. So the mobile audience didn't care. No, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the super chats. I'm going to go right back to them. I just want to get this thought out. But yeah, they didn't. Mobile didn't attract anybody. So it's not growing. And what do? And now you just see Sony and Nintendo just kind of raking in the console space. Growing. And you're spending 7 billion, 80 billion, lawyers. And now you're sitting there with this debt of $80 billion. And now you're sitting there going, all right, well, we got everything. We own id, we own Bethesda, we own Starfield, we own Call of Duty, we own King, we own all this stuff. We can't, and now let's look at what we got. And they turn to their left and they go, install base is not growing, the console's not selling, they're not buying games on the platforms we're putting it on, mobile's not doing anything, strap-ons are done. Like, nobody's doing anything everywhere we are. Samsung TVs ain't doing anything. iPads, Apple Store just closed down on us, so we can't even release a mobile store now. We're sitting on all this stuff, and that console market's growing. Our console market's shrinking. We got to go put it over there. And now, last year, they tried that exclusivity, thinking that they were going to do something with Starfield and Redfall. It fell flat on their face. The delay hurt it. The game's quality hurt. Boom. And now you're just going to go put it on a PlayStation because that's where they buy. And don't you think they see MPDs? They see where Minecraft is selling. They see where all these games are selling. And they see the PlayStation's probably selling a lot because Sony didn't compromise its install base and convince them to wait and subscribe for games. You did this to yourself. It is like they walked with 2 left feet. They tripped over themselves every single step of the way. And all of this, I'm telling you right now, and I said this 5 years ago, all this is all self-inflicted. They did all this to themselves because all they had was an endpoint, but they had no way of how to get there. And the only thing they could think of is just chumming the water, throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks. And all they got, cheap ass fish. They got nothing. They didn't make that big catch. They didn't get that big break. And now they're done. Let's see if I make sure I got everybody's here. Ty Marshall, I think I saw with the 5. Thank you so much, man. He goes, it just shows us that Jim Ryan was right all along and everyone laughed at him. Who's laughing now? Jim Ryan has every right to gloat. Ty Marshall, let me tell you something. Thank you so much for that super chat. You know what's funny? Jim Ryan's going to retire. If he's not retired already. Dude's eating pudding in a retirement home right now, just laughing, going, my job is done. I killed Xbox. Because all he did was focus on his brand. He didn't worry about all this other trash. He just said, guys, let's just make games. He said it from day one. He said, enough of him. We're going to have the games do the talking. And that was it.
Enough from me. We're going to have the games do our talking.
And whether they're his first party games, whether they were they were exclusives that sold their platform. And Jim Ryan, wrote out. If they didn't buy Activision, Jim Ryan could have saved them. Right? Jim Ryan could have saved them. Hit that like button, grinders. It's a big night. Emergency at Grindhouse. Jim Ryan tried to save them by saying, don't buy Activision. This was a stupid deal to begin with. This Activision deal. It was dumb. They spent so much money and time to keep everywhere status quo. People thought they were gonna make Banjo get the dude. They're not spending any more money. All they want to do is ride the wave. And Jim Ryan's walking out in March, and I wouldn't be right behind him is going to be Phil Spencer going, or Sarah Bond going, we will be putting our games on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch moving forward. And Jim Ryan's going to be retiring and walking out in March. See you later, guys. He puts his hand up in the air, looks back like a champion, opens up the retirement home door, and there he goes. The same time that Jim Ryan's walking out and Sony's supposedly in trouble. Pfft. Dude, basically, he did it. He did what he came to do. He got everybody from the PS4 to buy a PS5. That was Jim Ryan's job. I said it 3 years ago. Jim Ryan's job was to say, hey, you want PS4? Go buy a PS5. Migrate them all over. And he did exactly that with the games.
Enough from me. We're gonna have the games.
Why do you think Sony front-loaded this generation so much with games? Because they put out the death blow knowing that they needed to move everybody over from PlayStation 4. They couldn't afford waiting 3 years with indies and stuff. They couldn't do that. Sony had to come out and hit hard, and that's what they did. They came out there and said, get a Horizon out there, get a God of War, get a Spider-Man, get a Miles Morales, go, go, go. Get a Ratchet, get our IP out there up front because we got to bring people over. Now, because of the COVID stuff, they had to make them cross-gen, but I'm telling you, those games were going to be PS5 exclusive games. They just ported them to PS4 because the migration was slow due to the unavailability of the PlayStation. But once that PlayStation hit, now when you go buy a PlayStation, you have a ton of games to go play. Go buy an Xbox. Tell me all the games you got to play in the last 4 years. You go buy a Series X tomorrow. What are you missing out on? Crickets. Halo Infinite? That's a game you got to go back to? What are you missing out on? Pentiment? Starfield that just got Shadow and Light updates? COVID did slow it down because this would have happened, I think, 2 years ago if COVID didn't happen. It would have all bought PlayStation 5s that first year. It would have been done. But he's done. But thank you, Ty Marshall, for that super chat on there. And then let me get down to, subtext with the 10. He goes, I wonder how much the 10-year Call of Duty extension changed the math. They wanted just 3 years. Remember that, right? If 10 years makes ABK deal unsustainable, then Sony's legal strategy was spot on. Yeah, you're right. That subtext, that's a good point. And thank you again for the chat. He goes, they wanted 3 years. Remember, Phil promised them the 3 years, right? Xbox is WCW. That's pretty much, right? I just bought Xbox. But you're right. Sony, with the 10 years, Sony waited them out. Sony ensured with the 10-year deal that Microsoft they weren't gonna have the patience to wait 10 years to see what a Call of Duty would be. See, with 3 years, maybe Microsoft would have held on to some exclusivity for a little bit, like multi-plat for like 3 years, and then kind of pull the rug from underneath them. But with 10 years, Microsoft don't have the patience. They don't have the patience. That's eons to them. 10 years to support a product, dude. Look how quickly they killed Mixer. Look how quickly they killed the One X. It didn't even have a 3-year anniversary. They moved on to the next generation. They killed their shit. Look at HoloLens. They even made a sequel to HoloLens and killed it still. They paid Ninja and Shroud millions of dollars just to kill them. Dude, insane. Insane. Anthony Perez with the 2. He goes, let's pour one out for the PS5 as a dead man walking. Oh, my God. Yeah, right? Oh, talk about that. Holy crap. Dead man walking PS5? Like, come on, dude. And I'm going to tell you now, people are going to try to cope with this and say, like, Sony's going to do the same thing. They're not. Because PlayStation is not in the same position that Xbox is. And again, you want me to come back 3-4 years from now and say, yeah, I told you so? Well, let me tell you this. Sony's not in the same position because the thing is that Xbox doesn't exist anymore. The console is not lucrative at all for Sony. The fact that Xbox is putting their games on another console is going to kill the console. They could come out with a discless one. They could come out with a blue one, a green one, a state-of-the-art one. It doesn't matter anymore, because the thing is that console is meaningless, because all of its games, the things that people buy the console for, are on other platforms. This is the Achilles heel. This is the end of days. Like, even if they kept stuff exclusive, end of days. It's it. Like, this is the ultimate thing. You take away the lifeblood of your platform. Let me just show you something here. Let me go to something here. Where's my viewer history? Let me take you a little bit. And this is what's crazy, that they must be rolling in this stuff, because this is the crazy thing. Hell, let me take you this. Oh my goodness, where's all this noise here? Back here. Where is it? The history? No. Oh, I got some funny stuff too, but I'm not gonna do it on this show. But I got just stay tuned. We're gonna go some funny stuff here. Now this is, what was I listening? Was that yesterday I was listening to it? Yeah, I was listening to it yesterday. This was pretty crazy. Let me just go there. We'll play some Grindhouse music.
Customer entirely, and I think that they didn't necessarily view Microsoft as being in the gaming business.
Everything is possible. That was how we wanted people to feel when it's on stage.
You could have shown up to GDC and plugged in a PC and tried to tell people it was a console, and not a single person in the audience, I don't even think we would have believed that that was really going to be a console. So we knew we needed to show something beautiful.
People got to be able to tell in an instinct that this thing is called Xbox.
Partner with us, people had expertise that he knew we didn't have.
This part
is like very difficult to recover from.
The risk here is enormous, the amount of money we could lose on this project. And for me, it was fear, uncertainty, and doubt, because you got a business guy who's going to try to figure out a business model with my little team of people who help me with the hardware business. You got 4 people coming over from DirectX. None of us actually knew the rules of the game that we're playing. And we basically just stood there and made me for a fool.
And he says, this is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company.
It was terrifying. I thought my career was over.
There's a new contender in the video game wars.
Xbox is going to be
The future.
truly the future of video games.
Xbox.
Taking over the living room.
Limitless.
Nintendo 64-bit
to edit their Word documents while sitting on the couch.
See?
Before he came to Microsoft, we knew Seamus from his.
Where is the part with the massacre? Oh, here it is. Why? Listen to this.
To ask if he
Listen
could
to
open
this
his
part.
heart to a Windows Lite version of Xbox.
We had to go to Bill and tell him that what he wanted most out of this, he was not going to get. This wasn't going to run Windows.
I can't imagine how it could be better.
Oh, Bill's not going to be happy.
This was the final meeting to either approve the Xbox or cancel it. One of the highest stakes meetings I was at my whole time at Microsoft.
Which is the Valentine's Day Massacre. It's like a 4:30 meeting.
24 years
Rick,
ago.
Thompson, myself, Ed Freeze, Jay Allard are the 4 Xbox folks there. Steve's there.
There was a whole outer group of people too. So this room was packed.
Well, about 15 minutes late, Bill walks in.
He's holding the PowerPoint presentation, and he walks up to the table and he throws it down on the table and he says, "This is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company."
Leans across at me and says, "Why are you trying to kill Windows?"
You guys have lied to me. You guys have like played me for a fool.
I start to try to argue for this, why we can't have the normal version of Windows. Bill doesn't want any of it. He doesn't want to hear it. He yells at me, shuts me down.
You got a lot of alphas in the room and all alpha males. And so there's a lot of pounding the table and you're wrong, I'm right.
By then, Jay is up. He's ready to fight. And so then Jay goes in. Then Robbie tries to talk to Bill. And
Bill yells at Robbie. If I'd had glasses on, I would have needed windshield wipers on him because he was spitting at us so hard and so fast.
Bill would yell at us for a while about these different things, and then Ballmer would take over on the business case, and the business case looked terrible.
By now, and the reason it's called the Valentine's Day Massacre is because all Valentine's Day activities are now off.
The candles at home, they're melting, and we're all missing dinner.
And the meeting gets to this sort of crescendo. And I said, okay, well, then let's not do it. We haven't announced anything. So that led to another hour.
And then somebody says, what about Sony?
Microsoft had owned the den and the office.
How cool!
And the thought of Sony owning the rest of the home is offensive to Bill. But the Xbox, it's the antithesis of everything that Microsoft is. It takes all of the hardware burden onto us, so it's really hard to make business sense of it. That's equally offensive. And what's going on with Bill and Steve was figuring out which of those was least offensive to them.
Bill kind of pauses and he thinks, and he says, I think we should do this. Ballmer's like, yeah, we should do this. And then they start getting excited and it starts going back and forth. We should do this. We should let these guys do this. Bill's like, okay, we're going to give you guys everything you asked for. Really want you to be successful in this project. You have all my support. And that part of the meeting took 5 minutes.
The hardware is so hard to make. Was like they started this whole venture 24 years, almost to the date, because Sony. And to think 24 years later, they are just going to go, yeah, let's just put everything that we do, that we make, on Sony's platform.
Hold on.
Poetic.
Okay. Holy Spirit, activate. Oh no. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Activate.
Well,
activate.
they're going to have a new documentary, I'll tell you this, and they're going to have the Valentine's Day Massacre of 2024 when they announce this stuff. Because this ain't going to go over. Because right now, people are going crazy on Twitter right now. They are going bonkers. And this is just the rumors. And the thing that Starfield and all, they know their identity is gone. And there is no inkling of hope now. This is the last thing. And I think that a lot of people left already. A lot of people knew this. A lot of people have been going on with this stuff. But the reality of the situation that you're going to see Xbox games on PlayStation is basically Sega 2.0. This is Sega 2.0. Valentine's Day Massacre 2024 is coming your way. Microsoft and Xbox have went the way of Sega.